Like count and count. The count is making you count. Take the end and put it at the end. You see? CNN. Santa becomes Satan Claus. You find yourself in the claws of the devil. Because you see now, in one of the books that he took out, the Maccabees, it tells you about the Roman soldiers actually invading Jerusalem on the 25th day of the 10th month and making the children of Israel sacrifice and eat swine. Now really in their calendar, before they actually carried the 12 months, although it's really 13 months, they were so backward it was 10. They actually had 10 months before they even put the 12. The 12 now, the two added months were July and August for two of the Caesars, Augustus and Julius Caesars. Came to seize everything. 2 months added for them. They didn't change the cosmics of the movements, you know. They just fitted in something the way they wanted to fit it in, like a leap year and these kind of things. So now, when they actually added now, it became 12, but originally they were 10. This is why you could even see with the months, you still see the prefix and the numbers, like Sept is 7, S-E-P-T 7. O-C-T, Oc is 8. Like octopus and octave and, you know, and octagon, all these things 8. N-O-V for November is 9, and D-E-C is 10, dec, like a decade. 7, 8, 9, 10. September, October, November, December. That was before the Caesars, July and August were added. Alright. So this is why now when they tell you that the Roman soldiers rode into Jerusalem, this is in the book of the Maccabees, when they rode into Jerusalem on the 25th day of the 10th month, keep doing that, the 25th day of the 10th month, and they sacrificed, they forced the Israelites to sacrifice swine on the altar on the 25th day of the 10th month. Dec, December, the 25th day. Meditate on that. Sacrifice swine. So this is why now they eat so much ham and turkey on that day. Because they made the Israelites sacrifice swine. And Santa Fraud was born in Turkey. Symbolism, pilgrim, society of friends, turkey business, all this is symbolic. Now, you see, are we going to get to what's going on when he comes down your chimney? Because now, even down to the Christmas tree, like that knowledge the point the sister made too, the sister, I don't think everyone heard what she said, but she made a good point concerning the stockings and everything. It has to do with the same three little girls. A lot of things to say, you know. And I know the time is moving, we're going to look to try to seal it as quick as we can in all ways. Now, the evergreen pine tree is a specific tree, and this is one thing that we must comprehend, that every religion really has a tree. The tree, that's why the tree of life, and the root of David, and the stem of Jesse, and all of these things, trees. Alright. I'm a Rastafari. Rastafari have a tree too. Everybody know the tree, right? Every religion has a tree. Okay, good. Now, the evergreen pine tree now has been used as the symbol for life and the tree of life, because during the winter, as you can see, it's still strong. Even though its leaves are little needles, it's still strong and they don't drop off. The evergreen pine tree, and lives for a very long time too. Very powerful tree, yes. But when it comes to animism now, which is the worship of the created things, from stone and, you know, sun. Yes, sun worship does exist. Not Kemet sun worship, that's solar biology. Like Sol Invictus, Constantine sun worship, all of that is animism. Now in animism now, they used to actually worship the tree. This is why even at the beginning we were speaking of the chi. The power of the chi is very important in a lot of the, and the qigong and so, in a lot of the African movies. You see people going and the new African movies they have today. You see people going and speaking to trees, and trees giving them all kind of spells to go and work on people and all kind of things. Sometimes you see dogs inside of the tree talking to people. That's an ancient science. That's why dogs bark, you know. Etymology again, all of that is secret science. Dog bark, bark and tree. That's why in the movies you see the dog in the tree. talking to people. They know what they're doing, you know. They're just playing with our minds. Now, the tree itself, that tree, to get the blessings from the tree, because the tree represented God, just like any God figure, you'd have to go to the tree with a star on top of the tree and pay homage to the tree, sing to the tree, and I'll bow down to the tree. Now in Jeremiah chapter 10, Jeremiah specifically speaks of the ancient, or I should say the old rituals of the people. The rituals of the people are vain. One, take it an axe and go it to the forest. This is Jeremiah. And he cut it a tree, the works of man's hand, and he fastened it with nails and with hammers. And here we do now. He deck it with bars of gold and silver. That's the tree idea. They sing to it too, and they make cakes, the queen of heaven. And you can get into more Nimrod and Ishtar. We can come to that now. The tree. So now, Jeremiah chapter 10, check it anytime. It's the same thing. They deck it, deck, December deck the halls with bars of holly. Tra la 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 la. You even sing it, deck it. Alright. You have to come to the same tree. You bow down to the tree and you worship the tree and you go on all kind of things for this tree because this tree is going to give you all your life. Now you see these gifts on here? Unless you have a fishing pole. The only way you're going to get these gifts is if you go to the tree, bow down to the tree. Even sometimes you have to dig all under here to pull out your bike or your boat or your little toy gun. Before you can actually get your gift, you have to bow down to the tree to get the gift. Which is an ancient, or I should say old, not ancient, an old so-called science of animism that you had to come and bow down and pay homage to the tree before the tree bless you. Same thing here. That's why the gift is under the tree. What kind of gift? Fallen fruit? No, that's the blessings that you're supposedly getting from this evergreen pine trees. Animism. You know, tree worship. I tell you, that's how far we come now. But yes, still now, as you can see, fairy tale, Folly Daze, nursery crimes. We don't even touch one nursery crime yet. And time is moving so much. Stupid. Now you see, Stupid here has a little rose dropping out every time. Now you see the rose symbol, the Rosicrucian. The rose and the cross. Rosicrucian is one of the most, I would say, on one degree, tamest of the so-called Freemasonic orders. Why I say that is that it's a lot of, I know a lot of people that say that they're Rosicrucians then, let's put it that way. You wouldn't really hear a man say, you know, I'm a member of the Skull and Bone. Although I have a video with George Bush saying so, you know. Yeah. You wouldn't hear a man saying, you know, I'm a member of the Illuminati. And you know, I'm a member of, you know, maybe something else. But a man will tell you he's a Rosicrucian. They have the magazine coming out to England and all. You can buy it and here, you know. So they're very open. But a lot of them don't even know what it's all about, really. Rosicrucian is the Red Cross. Red Cross, the Society of Red Cross, the word society is a very important word with these people. The Society of Red Cross. First aid, first aid by the time the second aid is AIDS in. Right, Red Cross. But anyway, so now, the rose and the cross, this specific thing here, is a symbol of a folly day that they refer to as the Feast of Blood and Milk. Write it down. What they call Balanced Wine Day today was originally called the Feast of Blood and Milk. Now a lot of these things people will deny. Down to the simplest, when you look up what's his name there, Romulus and Remus, the founders of Rome. In any encyclopedia you can see them suckling the wolf. Ain't nothing you have to search too hard to find, you know. This knowledge is right there. The 14th of February is the Feast of Blood and Milk. Now, that blood and milk thing was a very sick thing. It had to do with the sacrificing of babies. Many times when you speak of these things, a lot of people get offended. But when you watch History Channel now, and they tell you how much people, the Mayans and the Incas, sacrificed day and night up and down these pyramids, nobody get offended. When I know a lot of that is symbolic too. But when these fellas literally did it, it comes like if you're marrying the history. When they self call it the Dark Ages. the medieval days. Medieval, right in the middle of it. So now, this rose thing, you know when the rose pricks you, you bleed. The rose is a very powerful plant. You can eat the rose, you know. That's the original flower, you know. Flower is something now. Flour is something now that you need to make bread. When the original bread was flour. But that's a long story altogether. But the rose is very, very good. It's good for a pregnant woman too. The same rose. Right. But now, the rose still, when people say, you know, life is now better roses, well, that's good. Who would want to really lie down in a better rose? Not me. I mean, a rose is something that's doing some serious damage in it. But yet still, the symbolism now is of the bleeding and the suffering Messiah. That's why the thorn around the heads. A lot of these things symbolic. But now, on this day, they would actually sacrifice babies. That's why a baby, so-called cherub angel, is used for the symbol. They would sacrifice babies. That sacrifice things come from a long time. And they would actually make the blood run in the street. This is why they get the term blood and milk. Blood for the sacrifice and milk because they were sacrificing babies. This is an old tradition before the Valentine thing come in. That's before even so-called Saint Valentine was born. They give you a lot of story about him being in jail and he was in love with some woman and all of that. That's secondary. This is really the main thing behind that. Them things are just to distract you. I hear them talk about that all the time on the 14th of February. And say, oh, we're giving you the real story of Saint Valentine. Tell me about the blood and the milk. That's why Santa Fraud now, with his red and white, blood and milk, that's why when he comes out the chimney, Christmas Eve, he's looking for what? Cookies and what?
Milk.
Sick people. Rudolph with the nose so bright, I tell you. Blood and milk. And that's why he's coming with your children. So-called kids. Not bugs, but still related. Now, remember Santa Claus is a real person. And people say Santa Claus ain't got nothing to do with Christmas. Well, if it's the 25th of December you're talking about, he has everything to do with that. If it's the Easter that people call Easter you're talking about, this is connected really. You can't separate this from Easter. People say, no man, they added this to make it look something. Man, this is the same story right there. I will show you really. Now, first of all, the egg business. If you really go into, there's a book, The Two Babylons, by a bishop, a Christian bishop, but he's hard against the Roman Catholic Church. That goes into bishop, I can't get his name fully, but there are a lot of books that go into the whole, you know, the Babylonian mystery of the Nimrod and the Ashtar and, you know, the Tammuz and all these different things. Now, to go into that forever, you know, it'll take a while. But the egg now, the egg was seen as a symbol of protection, wherein the egg in certain stories is symbolic of the ark. But now, otherwise than that, when it comes to the Easter celebration, we know this time is even when they're coming to right now, what you call Lent, coming into this Easter period. Easter is even related to the Ashtar, which is the Easter. When it comes to the sun worship again, Easter, that's why on the Easter Sunday morning, you go to the eastern part, and it's the sunrise service, because even at that time, the sun is actually rising perfectly due east during the Easter Sunday time, the time of spring, because the sun goes north in the summer and goes south in the winter in the northern hemisphere. We're going to go through all of this when we have the next lecture Sunday at Maria's by the Sea. Don't forget that lecture, 5 in the afternoon. You have to come sharp on time because we're only going to utilize the place for about 2 hours. We're going to be going to a deep lecture entitled The Heaven Declare the Glory of God. We'll be showing the movement of the heavens and the stars and the whole movement of the sun and the moon, to go into that whole aspect of how the stars and the heavens, you know, portray the mystery of the Creator. But anyway, still, when you observe now the rising of the sun due east at that time, the sun has always been a symbol of fertility. There's actually a documentary that we did, we have it there also entitled Tutankhamun, that really goes into the cycle of the sun. Now the cycle of the sun, as I said, has always been related to fertility. What they call Quetzalcoatl or the feather snake, that's the next story really. But the fertility sign now is that the whole concept now of the fish. When you see them use the fishes, especially during the time of Lent and Easter, the fish is a symbol of fertility again. That's why the resurrection at Easter is very important, because it has to do with being fertile. That's why the use of the fish, because fishes lay a lot of eggs. Now, a rabbit now doesn't lay eggs, but a rabbit is considered to be very fertile. As a matter of fact, some of the cartoons and the little comic books you read, you see the rabbit with his little glasses on a typewriter or a calculator going away. They tell you the rabbit can multiply very fast. Multiply means that the rabbit has a lot of children. The rabbit is very fertile, wherein the symbol of fertility during Easter is very important. This is why you see when they rise a little wafer, it looks like the sun before it's broken, because it's a symbol of the sun and the fertility. So this is why now you see the rabbit with the eggs, because the egg now, symbol of the sun. That's why when you break the egg, what? Sunny side up. Sunny side up. Egg. The egg is the symbol of the sun. Ain't me, you know, it's them. The egg is the symbol of the sun. That's why even inside and you're frying it, it looks like the sun. And that's why the rabbit, who can multiply more than anything else, has eggs. It is the symbol of Easter, or Ashtar, who actually was the one that recovered the egg when it dropped from the heavens. That is old Babylonian myth. Ashtar catching egg. Easter, Ashtar, egg and rabbit, and egg and fertility. Sunny side up. Fairy Daze, Folly Daze Nursery grind, I tell you. Yes, that's my bridge in there. Now, yeah, that's my bridge in there. Now, this individual there is also symbolic, believe it or not, of a Christ-like figure. Number one, the one eye thing. Remember, we already went into the one eye. We're going to have to recap one eye. One eye is the symbol of the Christ. It's better that you have one eye and the light coming and staying than you have two eyes and the light coming and going. Again, don't try this at home. Don't be going home and digging on the eyes. Symbolism. This is why now you notice that pop eye, alright, one of the eyes are popped out, and he's a pop too, has an ankh on his hand. Not even an anchor. An ankh, right here, ankh. The ancient Kemetic symbol. Ones have ankh on the neck and around here. Popeye has the ankh on his hand. The symbol of life before the cross. Popeye has the ankh on the other hand. What is outstanding here is that Popeye is a sailor man, which is an ancient symbol again of the God figure, not just Christ and his fisherman friend. The Osiris man had to go into the boat. The Noah story and the boat, and the Jonah and the boat. All this boat thing is Christ symbol. This is why Popeye is a sailor man. He has all the credentials here now. He has the ankh, he has the one eye, and he's a sailor. Okay, what's next? I tell you that the Bongo Jesse, not the Bongo Jesse. Jesus don't have any wife. Alright. But yet still, he's always going to the Mount of Olives when he wants to catch his meditation. I mean, I have a wife. I know when I need to catch a little meditation. And I need to, find the subtle side. Popeye's wife's name is Olive. Olive oil, wearing the olive. You notice in the American eagle we had up there with his 13 letters. In one of his hands he had an olive branch, which is the symbol of peace and tranquility. That's why one hand is arrows and one hand is olive. One is war and one is peace. And the eagle looking at the peace. According to them, wherever the eagle is looking, that's where the state they're in. Now the eagle is watching the branch. For years I see it watching the branch, but these people are always at war. Alright. I don't know what it's like if the eagle was supposed to watch the arrows. Now, so here you have his wife, his olive, his ankh, his one eye, and a sailor man. But now, what is quite outstanding now, more than anything, SPI, not a spiral, you know, in that sense. The SPI is a high symbol, the spiral, yes, the spinach. That's why the spider makes its web in the spiral. So the golden spiral is an ancient mathematical equation again. The pyramids were built in the spiral, pi, epsilon, and the unitary number 1. The Orion belt begin in the spiral. All of these things. Even the way you breathe, the air comes out in a spiral. That's why they call it deep breath. And inspiration. And you notice the word spy in there, spirals, and all of the spinach. Spiral ritual, spiritual. Deep thing. Good. Now, Popeye, you will notice there are times when Popeye would eat this green leafy vegetable, spinach, through this apparatus called a pipe. Check it. Ain't I know, I never drew him yet. They will show you this Christ figure with his hand on his hand and his one eye and his olive oil and his sailor business when he's in a corner and Pluto or Brutus, depending on which story you're reading, comes to destroy him, especially when his hand is tied down and he's on the train track. Popeye will actually take the fire out of the pipe and open that spinach can and suck the spinach through the pipe. Sorry about that. And of course, breaks out the rope, and that's it for Pluto and even the train. Alright, what's going on there? What kind of message is that? Now, of course, many of you but I mean the oldest constellation, the oldest known and accepted constellation is a constellation known as Arcturus. Sunday we may look at Arcturus too. Wherein Arcturus is a constellation of a man with a pipe. And that is considered to be the oldest known constellation in history. Alright, we looking to seal up, you know we don't touch any nursery crimes yet. Now you see the spiral here again? The spiral is very important. They have a few cartoons that they show, and you just see the spiral up and down. Spiral. Spiral. What spiral there, you know? If you just take your time and look, you see bang, well there, that's I pointed out, bang, spiral. Couple spirals, but that's the thing they do all the time, up and down. But now, there's also a message within this crew here that it's a message that you could meditate on, because what is happening here, what you'll observe is that the flint stones, let me just skip too far before I come back to his background. The flint stones now, this is really a flint stone too. The flint stone, a flint stone is a fire stone. Now this is known as the Olmec head structure. The ancient Olmec, you could find these head structures especially in this part of the world, but they're indigenous to Uganda and the rubber trees. It's made from volcanic rock. And this Olmec head, the Olmec people, obviously an African indigenous people who always have on their war helmet. The Olmec people are said to be the civilizers of the Indians. They're the one that came and brought civilization to the Mayans. That's why the most famous Mayan king, Lord Pakal, was seen as an Olmec, an African black man that brought the civilization to the Indians to build the pyramid and these things. Now, the Olmec itself, the head structure, as I said again, return back to Fred and Barney. The Olmec, you can even see the portrayal that is trying to be made. But not just the look, because the whole theory behind of it. A flint stone and a rubble are two different things. Flint stone is just like the Olmec head. The Olmec head is volcanic rock. That's where flint stone originally comes from. It's crystallized volcanic rock over the ages. That's why you could take flint stone and make fire. So the Olmec and the flint stone is basically the same thing. Now look at the flint stone now. The Flintstone, so-called Stone Age people that were there before anyone else, you will notice that they have all the technology that modern civilization has. But yet still, they're using nature to fulfill it. Now, although it may look pathetic, a little elephant sucking up the dirt, and some elephant putting gas in a car that you don't even have to start but you run with your feet. But you can run out of gas, stupidness, but yet still, and you know, you press a button and this little bird with a little, you know, Italian hat goes and carves out your picture, bends up his beak, the rabbit on the TV. But the point that they're trying to make here is that these first people had everything that the Jetsons have, but they were not polluting the atmosphere. It's a mystic science, you know. And as you could see, they are flint stones. The Olmec, the firestones, the civilizers who taught the Mayans to build the pyramids. This is why flint stone works in a quarry, digging out stone. Now if you notice rubble, if you watch the episodes, rubble doesn't always work in the quarry. He's always on and off. But Fred for sure, always in the quarry building something. They never show you anything in building, but yet still they're digging out stone. That sounds like pyramid building. And I'm positive, because in the midst of the flintstone now, they are a member, him and him, of a secret society right in the flintstone. They call the Water Buffalo Lodge. You're right there. And they have a grand poobah, which is just the grandmaster in a cartoonish form. They have secret handshakes, they do all sorts of things. There was actually an episode where Wilma and Betty now disguised as men. They took a mop and made moustache, and it's the most blood I ever get. More blows and kick and thump, even Fred and Barney throwing a few. Because that's what initiation is all about when you go into these Masonic lodge. And they showed you live and direct in the Flintstones and the rubble. Alright, I know the time is moving on. Many things there to be said now. We're going to look to wrap up with him. You know, we don't get to the nursery crimes, we have to touch some nursery crimes. Crime is very important. But now, we're talking about the Super Zero Day. No. There's something, I mean, a lot of them you could talk about for sure. But there's something unique here that I really wanted to touch on. What's so important about this one is this. Let me show you, before we touch him, there's an individual they call William Chippendale. Now, William Chippendale was a Freemason, and he was well versed in the Gothic style of building furniture. Not furnitures. Furniture. Now, remember Gothic, when we spoke of the Gothic, when you think of Gothic, you may first think of Masonic buildings. But William Chippendale, that's his name, Chippendale, specifically was renowned for building Gothic furniture. So he didn't deal with the stone, he dealt with the wood, like a carpenter. That's why Christ is a carpenter, you know. People always talk about Christ and Joseph building house up and down Bethlehem. You see, this is what's going on. We're going to take the symbolism and we make it too literal. A carpenter is a master builder. That's what a mason is, you know, a master builder. So Christ was an opposite of a mason. He was a carpenter. He was a master builder. He was a member of the secret societies too. Not their type, but the carpenter type. You see the difference. But now, Chippendale now, William Chippendale, European too. I'm showing you that in the cartoon now, we don't have that figure here, we didn't put that one up there, but it just came to mind for me to bring it out. William Chippendale, the cartoon Chip and Dale, Chippendale, the two chipmunks, were actually made in honor of him. No man, you're just taking that too far. Chippendale are chipmunks, they live in trees. And that's the outstanding characteristic of William Chippendale. Just like Bart is a brat, William Chippendale built furniture out of trees. When everyone else was building Gothic buildings, he highlighted himself by dealing with wood. So that's why William Chippendale is the modern day Chippendale. Rescue Rangers, that's him. Good. Him now, Bat Boy, is another individual. This individual, remember when we began, we told you that when they destroyed Jacques de Molay, that was how long ago now? 2 hours ago? When they destroyed Jacques de Molay, they ran for refuge in Scotland and they got refuge from Batman. Remember that's what I said? No? You were sleeping on me or what? Yes, I told you they got refuge from Batman. No, I said they got refuge from Robert the Bruce. Now, Robert the Bruce specifically was the king of Scotland. Gotland. Now, when you watch Gotland is a city that's well dark. More churches and dong and more bats and never had lights. Gotland is a Gothic city. It's Gothic plus Scotland. Gothic, Scotland, Gotham. That is where the Freemasons, or I should say the Knights of the Templars, ran before they became the free and accepted Masons. Who accepted them so freely? Robert the Bruce. In Scotland, Gotham. That is why now you notice that Batman and Robin, all of their nemesis or their villains or their opposites, they're always intelligent people. Like the Penguin and the Joker, the Riddler, intelligent people. So this is why Batman and Robin, they're always dealing with clues. It's not about getting vexed and turning green and kicking down wall. It's about mystic mentality. Batman is a smart man. He doesn't have any superpowers. He can't fly and no spider bite him and looking through wall. He's a scientist that deals with his utility Orion's belt. You lose that, his power is gone. Now, this is why when they unravel the clue, or I should say the clue, like the riddle of some kind of clue. Great Scots, Batman. Great Scots. Who the Great Scots? The people from Scotland. Robert the Bruce is Bruce Wayne and Robin. Batman and Robin, Robert the Bruce. Bruce and Robin, Robert the Bruce. Batman and Robin, the king of Scotland. Gotham, Great Scots. This is why they also say holy smokes. What kind of smoke is holy smoke? You can ask Papa. Holy smoke, and that's what they used to pick. Holy smokes, Batman, come on, don't make them fool you. Spiral ritual. So this is why now you see, just like William Chippendale is Chippendale, Robert the Bruce is Batman. He has been deified as Batman for his good deeds of rescuing the Knights of the Templars when they were running for their life. And we see that in the simplest of cartoons. Now, I mean, I know the time